Can I ask you something? Who told you to think small? Who convinced you that your dreams need permission? Who made you believe that you are limited by your background, your bank account, or your last mistake? The only reason your life is small is because your thinking is small. You don't have a resource problem. You don't have a connection problem. You don't even have a timing problem. You have a thinking problem. And tonight we are breaking the ceiling off your mind. There is a magic, yes, a supernatural shift that happens the moment you decide to think bigger than your circumstances. When you think small, you act small. When you act small, you expect small. And when you expect small, you live small. But when you think big, something changes in your posture, your prayer, your preparation, and your persistence. Big thinking stretches your faith. Big thinking expands your vision. Big thinking unlocks doors that small thinking didn't even see. You can't live a big life with a little mindset. The difference between average and extraordinary is not talent, it's belief, not opportunity, but expectation, not luck, but vision. Tonight, we're not just dreaming bigger, we are deciding bigger, because the size of your life will never exceed the size of your thinking. Your life will always move in the direction of your strongest thoughts, not your occasional thoughts, not your emotional thoughts, not even your hopeful thoughts, your strongest, most repeated, most believed thoughts. Because what dominates your mind eventually dictates your decisions, and your decisions design your destiny. If you wake up every day thinking, I'm not enough, you will hesitate when opportunity knocks. If you believe people like me don't succeed, you will subconsciously sabotage the very breakthrough you prayed for. If you constantly rehearse fear in your mind, you will perform fear in your life. The mind does not just process reality, it produces it. You don't move toward what you want, you move toward what you believe. That's why two people can stand in the same storm, yet one sees destruction while the other sees development. The difference isn't circumstance, it's perspective. One thinks, this is happening to me. The other thinks, this is shaping me. And that single shift in thinking changes posture, endurance, and outcome. Your thoughts are not harmless, they are seeds. Every thought you entertain is being planted in the soil of your future. Think small long enough and you'll build a small life. Think defeated long enough and you'll walk defeated. But think victorious, think growth, think expansion, and watch how your behavior begins to align with that belief. Because here's the truth, you will never outperform your self-image. If deep down you see yourself as average, you will unconsciously resist extraordinary opportunities. If you see yourself as incapable, you will avoid challenges that could elevate you. But when you begin to see yourself as called capable, anointed for more, your steps get bolder. Your voice gets stronger, your standards rise. The battlefield is not around you, it's within you. Long before a breakthrough happens externally, it happens internally. The promotion starts in your mind. The confidence starts in your mind. The courage starts in your mind. You don't suddenly become powerful, you start thinking powerful, and power follows. That's why guarding your thoughts is not optional, it's essential. The mind is like a control tower directing the flights of your life. If the tower gives faulty instructions, the landing will be rough. But when the mind is disciplined, focused, and aligned with possibility, your life begins to take off. When you change your thinking, you change your interpretation. When you change your interpretation, you change your reaction. When you change your reaction, you change your results. It all traces back to the thought. So if your life feels stuck, check your thinking. If your growth feels limited, check your thinking. If your dreams feel distant, check your thinking. Because once you upgrade the mind, the life has no choice but to follow. Your future is not waiting on luck. It's waiting on a new level of thought. And the moment you decide to think higher, think wider, think bigger, your life will begin to rise to meet it. Small thinking often disguises itself as practicality. It whispers, be realistic. It says, don't aim too high. It convinces you that playing safe is wisdom. But if you listen closely, beneath that calm voice is something trembling. Beneath that so-called logic is fear. Fear doesn't always shout. Sometimes it sounds responsible. It tells you not to apply because you might get rejected, not to start because you might fail, not to speak because you might be judged. It dresses itself up as caution, but its true intention is confinement. Small thinking is fear trying to keep you comfortable. Fear's greatest weapon is limitation. It wants you to shrink your dream until it no longer scares you. It wants you to reduce your vision until it fits inside your current circumstances. It wants you to aim only for what feels guaranteed. But anything guaranteed rarely changes your life. The tragedy of small thinking is not that you fail. It's that you never try. You talk yourself out of growth before growth ever has a chance to stretch you. You negotiate your potential down to something manageable. You settle not because you lack ability, but because you fear uncertainty. Fear magnifies risk and minimizes possibility. It shows you every reason why it won't work, but hides every reason why it might. It reminds you of your past mistakes, but stays silent about your past victories. It builds arguments around your insecurities until doubt feels justified. Small thinking says, what if I lose? Big thinking asks, what if I grow? Small thinking says, I'm not ready. Big thinking says, I'll learn along the way. Small thinking says, someone else can do it better. Big thinking says, why not me? A fear also loves comparison. It convinces you that others are more qualified, more gifted, more connected. It makes you measure your beginning against someone else's middle. And when you compare long enough, you shrink yourself. You start editing your dreams to avoid competition. You start dimming your light to avoid attention. But understand, this fear is not proof that you can't. It is often proof that you care. It shows up at the edge of growth. It appears right before elevation. And if you allow it to dictate your thinking, it will keep you at the same level year after year. Small thinking feels safe in the moment, but it is expensive in the long run. The cost of playing small is regret. The cost of shrinking back is unrealized potential. The cost of listening to fear is a life that never fully expands. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to think beyond it. It is the refusal to let anxiety define your limits. When you challenge small thinking, you challenge fear's authority over your future. You begin to see obstacles as lessons instead of stop signs. You begin to see risk as a doorway instead of a wall. The truth is, most limitations are not external, they are internal agreements with fear. And the moment you withdraw that agreement, the walls begin to fall. When you confront the voice that says, stay small, and choose to think bigger anyway, you reclaim power. Small thinking may feel comfortable, but comfort has never created greatness. The life you desire is on the other side of the fear you've been entertaining. And once you recognize small thinking for what it truly is, fear in disguise, you can stop bowing to it and start rising beyond it. Big thinking will always demand big faith, because the moment you decide to think beyond your current reality, you step into territory you cannot fully control. Small thinking relies on what it can see. Big thinking relies on what it believes. And belief is the language of faith. When you choose to think big, you automatically outgrow your comfort zone. Your resources may not match your vision. Your experience may not match your ambition. Your present circumstances may not look anything like your desired future. That gap between where you are and where you believe you can be, that gap requires faith. Faith is not blind optimism. It is disciplined confidence in what is possible even when evidence is limited. It is waking up and working toward something that hasn't shown up yet. It is preparing for opportunities you haven't seen. It is speaking with conviction about a future that hasn't materialized. Big thinking without faith quickly turns into frustration, because the journey will test your belief before it rewards your effort. When you think big, challenges don't disappear, they intensify. The higher you aim, the stronger the winds become. Doubt will visit your mind, critics will question your ambition, circumstances will attempt to contradict your vision. Without faith, you will interpret those obstacles as proof to quit. With faith, you will interpret them as confirmation that you are stretching. Faith allows you to act before you feel ready. It empowers you to take steps that logic alone would delay. It teaches you to trust growth even when growth feels uncomfortable. Big thinking is not about pretending fear doesn't exist. It's about refusing to let fear overrule belief. Every significant achievement in life begins as an idea that seems unrealistic to someone. Before it becomes visible, it must first be believable. Faith is what holds the vision steady when progress feels slow. It is what keeps you committed when results lag behind effort. It anchors your mindset during seasons where nothing seems to be moving. Without faith, you will constantly shrink your dreams to match your present reality. With faith, you expand your actions to match your future vision. Faith shifts your focus from limitations to possibilities. It teaches you to evaluate yourself not just by what you've done, but by what you are capable of becoming. Big thinking also requires faith in yourself. You must believe that you can learn what you don't know. You must believe that you can grow beyond your mistakes. You must believe that your past does not disqualify you from a greater future. That internal faith fuels resilience. It allows you to fail without defining yourself as a failure. Stretching is uncomfortable because growth always is. Muscles tear before they strengthen. Minds feel pressure before they expand. Faith is what keeps stretching instead of retreating. It whispers that discomfort is temporary, but expansion is lasting. When you combine big thinking with big faith, you develop endurance. You stop expecting instant results and start committing to long-term transformation. You move with purpose even when the path is unclear. And over time, what once required faith becomes reality. Big faith does not eliminate uncertainty. It empowers you to move through it. And when you consistently think beyond your limits while believing beyond your doubts, you create a life that is larger than your fears ever allowed. Your environment is more powerful than you think. It is shaping you even when you don't notice it. The conversations you entertain, the people you spend time with, the content you consume, the standards you tolerate, all of it is quietly influencing the size of your vision. You may believe your thinking is independent, but your environment is constantly feeding it. If you are surrounded by people who speak in limitations, you will begin to see limits everywhere. If the dominant language around you is doubt, complaint, and fear, it will slowly become your internal dialogue, not because you are weak, because repetition builds belief. What you hear consistently, you eventually accept. Environment sets the norm. If everyone around you believes average is acceptable, extraordinary will feel unrealistic. If no one in your circle talks about growth, investment, leadership, or impact, your mind won't naturally expand in those directions. You can't consistently think bigger in a space that celebrates smaller. Vision is contagious, but so is mediocrity. When you step into rooms where people challenge themselves, your standards rise. When you hear conversations about strategy instead of gossip, solutions instead of excuses, possibility instead of problems, something in you awakens. You begin to realize that your current level is not your ceiling. Exposure expands expectation. Many people don't lack potential, they lack exposure. They have never seen what is possible beyond their immediate surroundings. They have never been in environments that stretch their imagination, so they build their dreams based only on what they've seen, not on what could exist. Your environment either stretches your thinking or shrinks it. It either waters your ambition or dries it out. If you constantly sit in spaces where people dismiss big ideas, you will eventually silence your own. If every time you speak about growth, someone responds with skepticism, you will begin to question your vision. This does not mean abandoning everyone who thinks differently. It means being intentional about where you invest your time and attention. Growth requires proximity to expansion. If you want to think bigger, you must position yourself around conversations that elevate you. Environment is not only physical, it is digital and mental as well. The books you read, the podcasts you listen to, the messages scrolling across your screen, they are shaping your perspective. If your daily intake is filled with negativity, comparison, and distraction, your thinking will shrink without you realizing it. But when you intentionally consume ideas that challenge you, educate you, and inspire you, your mind begins to stretch. You cannot plant yourself in small soil and expect large growth. Even the strongest seed needs the right conditions to flourish. Sometimes the reason your thinking feels limited is not because you lack imagination, but because you are planted in an environment that does not nurture expansion. When you upgrade your environment, you upgrade your expectations. When you upgrade your expectations, you upgrade your actions. And when your actions upgrade, your results follow. Your surroundings are either building your next level or reinforcing your current one. The question is not whether your environment is influencing you, it is whether it is influencing you upward or downward, because the rooms you choose today will determine the vision you carry tomorrow. Big thinking does more than expand your goals, it transforms your identity. The moment you start thinking bigger, you begin to see yourself differently. And how you see yourself determines how you show up in every room, every opportunity, every challenge. You cannot consistently live beyond the identity you hold within. If you see yourself as a survivor, you will focus on getting by. If you see yourself as a victim of circumstances, you will wait for rescue. If you see yourself as average, you will accept average treatment, average results, and average expectations. Identity sets the ceiling of your behavior, but when you begin to think big, something shifts internally. You stop identifying with your past limitations and start identifying with your future potential. You no longer introduce yourself by your struggles, you introduce yourself by your vision. Your language changes, your posture changes, your decisions change. Big thinking moves you from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of ownership. Instead of asking, can I survive this? You start asking, how can I build through this? Instead of seeing yourself as someone trying to fit in, you begin to see yourself as someone called to stand out. That shift in identity changes your standards. And when your standards rise, your life follows. Identity influences action more than motivation ever could. Motivation is temporary. Identity is foundational. When you believe you are a disciplined person, you act with discipline. When you believe you are a leader, you take responsibility. When you believe you are capable of greatness, you pursue excellence without being forced. Big thinking forces you to confront the story you've been telling yourself. Maybe you've been calling yourself shy when you are actually unpracticed. Maybe you've labeled yourself unlucky when you are actually underprepared. Maybe you've convinced yourself that your background defines your boundary. Big thinking challenges those narratives. You cannot carry a small identity into a big future. If your dream requires confidence, leadership, courage, and resilience, then your self-image must evolve to match it. Growth is not just about acquiring new skills, it is about becoming someone new internally. You don't just achieve bigger, you become bigger. When your identity expands, rejection doesn't crush you as easily. Failure doesn't define you as quickly. Criticism doesn't silence you as permanently. Why? Because you no longer see yourself through the lens of temporary outcomes. You see yourself through the lens of long-term vision. Big thinking also reshapes how you interpret challenges. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You ask, who is this shaping me into? You begin to understand that pressure refines identity, responsibility strengthens identity, risk stretches identity. The greatest transformation is not external success, it is internal alignment. When your thinking grows, your self-concept grows. And when your self-concept grows, your behavior rises to meet it. You stop chasing validation because you recognize your value. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable because you understand your calling. The life you desire requires a version of you that thinks differently about who you are. And once you embrace that expanded identity, your actions naturally begin to reflect it. Big thinking doesn't just change what you pursue. It changes who you believe you are becoming. Thinking big is powerful, but without action, it remains a beautiful illusion. Dreams are inspiring, visions are exciting, ideas are energizing, but none of them change your life until you move. Action is what turns imagination into manifestation. It is the bridge between what you see in your mind and what you hold in your hands. You can think big every day and still live small if you never step forward. Big thinking expands your vision, but big action activates it. The difference between those who admire greatness and those who achieve it is movement. At some point, you must stop planning and start doing. Action is uncomfortable because it exposes you. When you act, you risk failure, you risk rejection, you risk being seen trying, but growth only responds to movement. Opportunity does not chase hesitation, it responds to boldness. The moment you take a step, even a small one, you shift from dreaming about change to creating it. Clarity often comes after movement, not before it. Many people wait until they feel completely ready, completely confident, completely certain. That moment rarely comes. Confidence is built through action, not before it. Each step you take strengthens belief. Each attempt sharpens skill. Each experience builds momentum. Big action does not mean reckless action. It means committed action. It means aligning your daily habits with your larger vision. It means showing up consistently even when excitement fades. It means working when motivation is low and discipline must take over. The magic happens when thought and action align. When you think bigger, you begin to see new possibilities. When you act on those possibilities, you begin to create new realities. Without action, your big ideas slowly shrink under the weight of delay. Doubt grows louder when movement stops. Action also reveals what thinking alone cannot. It teaches you what works and what needs adjustment. It refines your strategy. It strengthens resilience. Failure in action is more valuable than perfection in imagination. Every attempt carries a lesson. Every lesson builds mastery. Momentum is born from consistent steps. One bold decision can change direction, but repeated action changes destiny. Small daily movements toward a big vision compound over time. What feels insignificant today becomes transformational tomorrow. Action separates desire from commitment. Many people desire a bigger life. Fewer commit to the process required to build it. Commitment is proven through movement. It is demonstrated through effort. It is sustained through persistence. When you act big, you start seeing yourself as capable. You build evidence that you can execute. You silence inner doubt, not with affirmations alone, but with results. Each completed task strengthens your identity. Each risk taken expands your confidence. The magic of thinking big is not in the thought itself. It is in the decision to back that thought with movement. When bold vision meets bold execution, transformation becomes inevitable. Your life does not change because you imagine something greater. It changes because you step toward it repeatedly until imagination became reality. So hear me clearly tonight. Your life is not waiting on permission. It's waiting on you. The ceiling over your head is not made of steel. It's made of thought. And the moment you decide to think beyond it, it shatters. You were not born to manage your potential. You were born to multiply it.